Hello everybody, welcome back. We're on 6.3. We're going to be adding and subtracting rational expressions today. So before we do that, we're going to go back to middle school. We're going to learn some of the steps that we had to learn when we started to add and subtract fractions. So remember, in order to add or subtract a fraction, first of all you have to find a common denominator. So that means the denominator has to be the same. If it's not, you cannot add the fractions. You also have to add the numerators together. Then the denominator stays the same, and then you're going to simplify if possible. So some of those are the rules that you had when we first learned to do this. Okay. So the first one we have is, it says simplify, express all answers in simplest form. So the first one is easy to remember. Find a common denominator if possible. It's not necessary here because we have a common denominator. So we add the numerators. 3 plus 2 is 5 over 7, 5/7. Okay. So I'll insert that in. To make sure we get an understanding of that. It's important to remember those steps moving forward. You do the exact same thing with the rational expressions as you're doing these examples. Okay. The first one's easy. It's 5/7. That's it. Okay. Next one we have is B. You'll notice that the denominators aren't the same. So if you look at 3 and 8, the easiest way to find the common denominators is you can essentially multiply the two denominators together to get 24, but you look for the least common multiple, and in this case it is 24 as well, right? So sometimes you have like an example like 4 and 6, for example. For 4 and 6, if you multiply them together, you get what's called a common denominator, 24, but it's not the least common denominator. But it doesn't matter; it's whatever works for you. Okay, so that's going to be become a 24. Which means that the 3 got multiplied by 8, so the 2 has to get multiplied by 8 as well, and we get 16. Okay, plus 5/8, which also the denominator is going to be 24, like we mentioned. Multiply the numerator by 3, because 8 multiplied by 3 gives you 24, so 5 multiplied by 3 gives you 15. Okay, and once we have a common denominator, now we can add the two numerators, and the denominator stays the same, so it becomes 31/4. And you can leave that as a mixed number, or sorry, leave that as an improper fraction or change it to a mixed number. What I always do is I just leave it as a improper fraction, and because 31 is a prime number, obviously, so there's nothing we can do with that. Okay, so we can just leave that as 31/24. All right. Next one we have here is we have the, you'll notice you get 7 and 21. A lot of you recognize right away that 21 is the common denominator. I think that's better than multiplying and getting 147. So we'll just make them both 21. That means the numerator in the second fraction is going to stay as 4. We tripled the denominator, multiplying by 3, so we do the same with the numerator, and it becomes 9. So we have 9 plus 4 equals 13, and the 21 stays the same. So we get, or sorry, not 14, it should be 13, 21st. Okay? Now with the subtraction follows the same rule, only you're going to subtract numerators instead. And what do we have here? Let's take a look. So we get 36 as the common denominator, 9 times 4. And 4 times 9 is 36, so 4 times 4 is 16 for the numerator. Let's subtract this time. And multiply the denominator 4 by 9 to get 36, so we multiply 1 by 9 and we get 9. And then we recopy that. And we subtract the numerators, and it'll be 7 to the 6th. That can't be simplified. We haven't yet defined when we're going to simplify. When you have 3 fractions, you do the exact same steps. Common denominator here, I would multiply the numerators here. 4 times 3 is 12 times 12 is 144. That's not necessary. A lot of you will recognize that 12 is the common denominator. You'd be correct in saying so. So 12 is the common denominator. Alright, so multiply 4 by 3 to get 12, so 3 times 3 is 9. multiply 4 multiplied by 3 to get 12. So 2 times 3, or sorry, 2 times 4 is 8, and then the 5/9 remains the same, and we're going to get an answer here. So it's 9 subtract 8 is 1, 1 subtract 5 is -4, and this is the first time then we had to simplify, and that gives us 1/3. And you can leave the negative in the numerator, or you can put it up front. It's completely up to you. Sometimes you'll see it like that. Either way is fine. Okay. In the next one, we have adding and subtracting. So again, you're just going to add and subtract the numerator as you get to them. You'll probably notice that this is indeed 36. Let's do this one because we already have 36. Okay. So we got 35. And then we're going to double that, and we get 10. Right, double and 18 to get 36. And we're going to add 36, and 1 times 36. Oh, sorry, 1 times 12 is 12, right? So 35 remains the same. We doubled the 5 to get 10 because we doubled 18 to get 36. And we multiplied 3 by 12 to get 36. We multiplied 1 by 12 to 12, right? And now our answer is going to be denominator 36, so that stays the same. We add the numerators. 35 subtract 10 is 25. 25 plus 12 is 37. And 37 is a prime number, obviously, so it's not going to simplify that. So that's a little crash course of what you did when we learned these back in junior high. So we'll need these to move forward. Okay. So let's look at the, maybe I'll leave that video there, and we'll start the learning some of the rules in the next video. Okay, so we'll see you back on page 10 of 6 decimal 3. Thank you.